Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Casson Academy. And happy Black Friday to you. Hope it's not too much chaos out there as you do your campaigns. In this session, we're going to be covering creating your first ad group. It's part of our campaign setup. We've been doing a whole bunch of different options or modules during campaign setup, and this is the last module within that setup. Once you've done this ad group creation, you'll be able to allow your campaign to go live. For the first time, I have put the playlist in the description below, where you can see all the videos in this series of creating a campaign from scratch. So we're going to get right into it, and we're going to show you now how to create your first ad group in Google Ads. So after you've done your settings and all the setup parts, Google Ads will go to the ad creation section. It's going to ask you to put in keywords right from the beginning. So as you can see here in the beginning, it's got keyword box and it's got a whole bunch of ideas of keywords that you should be adding to your current campaign. One thing we must always keep in mind is that you should never do all ad ideas. Add all ideas, there's a whole long keyword list here, and you never want to add all your ideas at once. This keyword dumping will cause very low quality scores within your campaign, so it's never a good idea. The first thing you want to do is actually create your ads, your actual ad groups first, and then you'll be able to add the keywords after that. So we're going to show you how to do this and how to go on to the very next step. So we're going to skip the box and just say create or save and continue. And it's going to go into creating ads, the very first part. Now there's a bunch of rules that happen here when you create ads. You can see that there's 3 headlines that you can fill in. So you must have your target page in mind. So we're going to target our, let's go for our AdWords page, all our AdWords classes. So once you've got your ads page or your target page in mind, you can start to put the keywords. You always want to be as relevant as possible. So a good practice would be to take the H1 on that particular page and use that and make sure that that is in your H1. You can then add some variations. So here you can say something like AdWords online courses. And then for headline 2 and 3, you might want to add some sort of call to action, or you might want to add a secondary way to say the same thing that you've said in headline 1. Okay, so here we might say something like, courses are free to learn, and if you are the one doing it, you might want to say who's actually doing the courses. I don't even know how to spell my own name there. Okay. As you write here, you'll see that it fills out your ads on the side here. Okay. Then you have a referral path. The referral path does not have to be accurate. You can put anything into your display path here, path 1 and path 2. So I try to keep keywords that I've used in my headlines up at the top here. So I would say something like AdWords learn or learn AdWords. Same sort of things that you got there. Then you want to write a description. In this case, I can't write the description right off the page because I don't have one in here. But if you did have a description, you could actually use that on the page for your first description. It's always best practice to actually copy something from within the page for the very first time. That gives you high quality, and it will allow you to get much better click-through ratios if the content of your page actually exists inside that ad. So in this case it doesn't, so I'm just going to use a generic description just for the sake of this course. There you go. You can see it's too long, far too long here. So I can take the second option and push it down. And then I just have to shorten it by 10. go. Search for in. You don't need to put the full stop at the end. You can take out those. And then you can go through to the next step. So this is the ad group that you're creating. Now the first thing that you need to understand when creating ad groups is, when do you create an ad group over a campaign? A campaign always goes to a URL or a page, but there may be a lot of ways to say that page, and that's when you make ad groups. As an example, your campaign URL goes to the AdWords page where all your AdWords lessons are. But is there another way to say AdWords lessons? So one campaign might be targeting the word AdWords lessons, or the next ad group might say AdWords lessons online. The next ad group that you create within it might say learn AdWords. All your variations that are still going through to the same page, those become your ad groups. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to say save and continue, and it's going to create that very first ad, and you'll be able to go through to your campaign. You can sit there and create more ads, but I prefer to say continue to campaign, so I can physically see my ad sitting there. There's no keywords. I'm going to go up to the ad groups. Just make sure you're at ad group level before you say ads. And I can physically see my ad sitting there. Now you can see it's recommending we add some more. The best practice is that we add 3 ads at a time and 1 responsive search ad, which is slightly different to the regular expanded text ads. So we're going to create 2 more ads quickly. You don't have to think about this too much. You're just going to do variations now, or other ways to say it. You want to keep to a certain topic, so I'm going to keep to the online courses topic. Okay, and I'm not even going to change the bottom ones. You never know which of your ads are actually going to win, so it's always good to create quite a few variations, because the user might like the way a certain ad is created, and that user will then go through to the ad. The more click-through ratio, or the higher click-through ratios you get on a certain ad, the better they perform over time, the better your CTAs, and so on and so on. So remember, I'm keeping the online course as my primary. Sometimes Google might block you, or other brands might block you from using their name. Your ads will become limited. If that is the case, you can either ask for an exception, or you can just replace the brand name with some sort of generic term. Again, I'm only changing the headline 1, 2, and 3, and I'm actually keeping the descriptions. If you have enough time to go through descriptions and do multiple descriptions, then you can do that. Okay, so now I've created 3 expanded text ads inside my ad group, and I'm going to create a responsive search ad. It's different to these expanded text ads. Expanded text ads are static. In other words, whatever you write in the fields, they stay there, and that's the way that your ad will actually appear. Whereas a responsive search ad is very dynamic. It's got a lot of headlines, and it's got a lot of descriptions that you can write. In order for it to do its job very well, you need to try fill in as many of these headlines as possible. So we're going to write here, this is AdWords courses. Sometimes if you double click, it will give you some suggestions. Now, as you write these headlines in a responsive search ad, you'll see that the order doesn't necessarily stay the same like the expanded text ads. It may change the order and try to determine which ads are better and which patterns or orders are better for your users. So we've only filled in 3. It's starting to shuffle 3 variations, and we're going to write a whole bunch more. live lessons. Interactive sessions. Now we think that we're finished, but you can see it's just adding another line and another line as it goes down. You can have a question mark in there. As you write, you can see it's still saying that it's poor. It needs you quite a few more headlines before it will tick that box. So you just keep going until you've pretty much mentioned everything possible. There we go, it just jumped from poor to advanced because we're getting there. And that one's not going to fit. There we go. And eventually it doesn't have an add button anymore. Then you know that you've reached the end. You've added every single possible headline. Now if you sit here and watch this, you can see that it's going to give or dynamically show a different variation to each person that comes in until it works out which variation does better. And then we get into the descriptions. We want to try and make them as whole as possible. Don't have time in this video to write all 90, but you want to try and reach 90 characters every time you write a description. So I can actually go to the home page, get some other descriptions from the page. Try and make sure you don't have any spelling mistakes. You can see there's more. It actually takes 5 descriptions. I prefer to capitalize the very first letter of every single word within the description. It's a matter of preference. There has been some research that it allows your click-through ratio to be higher. But the only way you're going to know is to try it and test it and see if it works for you. You can see how it's displaying on this side. Actually, it only takes 4 descriptions, and it's getting better there. Okay. Now, the only thing that it's missing here to be excellent is the keywords, because remember we skipped the keyword option in the beginning, so it doesn't quite know what if this is a good ad or bad ad. So we're going to save this ad now. And we can now see our responsive search ad, our 3 expanded text ad. Now there's a reason why we wait for the keywords, because now the keywords have a lot more ads to look at to determine quality. If you were to only write one, it doesn't have a lot to go by to know if you're relevant for that particular ad. So now that we've added quite a few, we can actually go and add our AdWords online course as a keyword now, so that it can come here, it will look here, and I'm actually going to update the name as well. So I'm going to go to the name, and I know that this one's about online course, and it's for ads, or AdWords. So like we did in our naming structure, always know what your campaign's about. So if you go and look at it, you'll know exactly what it's about just by reading its name. And you can find that in one of our previous courses. Okay, so there's our expanded text ads, there's our responsive ad. I'm going to jump over to keywords. And only now, remember the keyword match type that we had? You can find it in the playlist below if you haven't watched that yet. Then you would actually come in here, and as before, you would add your AdWords online course. Get the variation. And do a exact match. And do a broad match modifier. Okay, now there's a good chance that your quality is going to be high because these keywords exist in those ads that you've just created. Now I've got that. I can go back to my ads. I've got my ads, and you're pretty much sorted and ready to go. Now the nice thing about creating ads is that, or ad groups, is that ad groups are actually quite fast after you created the first one. So here's the online course, and remember I said that you could create a variation after that in order to target other keywords. So another way to say course as an example might be workshop or walkthrough. So it's quite easy for me now to go into this and change it so that that variation will apply. So if I want to change online course to online workshop, this is where copy and paste becomes your friend. I'm going to click the box. I'm going to copy, Control C, or you can copy under the drop down right here. And then I'm going to paste. Sorry, just give me a second. And I'm going to paste to an ad group called push. I'm going to pause the one that I paste. And let it run. Take out the name. And going to change it from online course to online workshop. Just the name. Okay, then I'm going to go into workshop, and this is where the copy and paste really does kick in. You're going to go to your ads first. You're going to select all your expanded ads together. You can't select responsive ads with expanded ads at the same time. It doesn't work with the find and replace. So you're going to do all your expanded ads first. We're going to find and replace. We're going to choose expanded ads from the drop down. We're going to find and replace. And we're going to take all the word courses in headlines and descriptions, and we're going to replace it with workshops, our variation. Okay, so we've got our AdWords workshops, and you can just read it to see if it makes sense. Here it says course and not courses, so the word course would be, we can just manually change it quickly to workshop. Now this one says workshops, this one says workshops, this one still says course as a singular. So you're going to manually change it. Okay, there's all our workshop related options. Now we're going to go into our responsive, and we're going to change the word course manually to workshop. Is there any other courses in here? Sessions. That's all good. Look at your descriptions. And because this is a variation, I'm actually going to pin it to make sure that it will show workshop. I mean, the workshop is the first option to help with quality. And I'm going to save. So now all of my ads say workshop, 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 workshop. And then the last step that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the keywords, and I'm going to update all the course options to workshop options. So again, we're going to select all. We're going to go down to the one that says change keyword text. I'm going to find and replace the word course with workshop. Allowed it to do a find and replace. Give it a second. Okay, AdWords Online Workshop, AdWords Online Workshop. These should be high quality scores, because if I go back to the ads, you'll see that it says AdWords Online Workshop. Everything's good there. Watch out for the S's. If it doesn't make sense, AdWords Online Workshops. Sometimes when you're finding and replacing words, the plurals and singular doesn't always match up. Okay, so online workshop. And one last test, I like to do a find, just to make sure the word workshop's in there nicely. There we go. And if you want, you can even update the display URL to do the same. So again, expanded text ads, change my ads. I'm not going to find and replace this time. I'm going to go to the display path. AdWords is good. But instead of learn, let's just do workshop. It helps you get an extra keyword in there. Give it a second. And now we have AdWords Workshop, AdWords Workshop, AdWords Workshop, and so on and so on. Okay, once you've done all of that, then you can unpause. Enable your campaigns, and when you go back, you can see both your ad groups, and those ad groups now have a variation. Still going through to the same page, still going through to the ads page with all the courses, but this one is talking about online courses, and this one's talking about online workshops. Now you can go and you can do some more keywords to see more keyword research to see what else is targetable. You can go into any of these campaigns now. When you click on keywords, it's going to suggest some just to give you some ideas. Or maybe you want to say certification if you do it, marketing course, and it gives you volumes as well on the side. You don't add them here, but you just use it to determine what the next ad group might be. So as an example, digital marketing course, well, it is not quite ads, not as relevant. But here you got Google Ads course, which could be a variation. So when you go to your ad groups this time, you might want to clone it, the one that says online ads course, and then you could say Google online ads course as your variation. So that's basically how you do the campaigns. And once you've done those campaigns, then you can go to done those ad groups, then you can go to your campaign level, you can enable it, make sure you got money in the account, and you're good to go. Your ads should start running in about 5-10 minutes or so, and then you should be able to see everything. If you want to test those ads, just remember that there is a testing tool. You can find it under the spanner, the ad preview and diagnosis tool. If you go there, you'll be able to see if these ads are working. Once you have loaded budget, it'll tell you if these ads are now working. So that's it for our Google ad group creation. It's the last one in our series. After going through all of those settings, once you've done the ad group, you're pretty much set to go and your campaign can go live. that's the end of the entire setup series. So thanks for watching, and I hope you guys had I hope everything was pretty easy for you with regards to all of the sessions for the setup. I'll see you at the next academy. We may still do one more this year, but otherwise I'll be seeing you next year. Thanks guys, cheers.